This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Absolutely delighted to be joined by via Zoom the Godfather himself.
What's happening, mate?
What,
You all right?
What's going on?
You all right? How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you keeping?
I'm all right. I'm just in the quarantine. I'm just gonna do my hour exercise soon, and I'm gonna go and stock up on some frozen food and stuff.
Yeah, everyone likes to see your Instagram post of, we know you're a lover of food, and the simplistic foods as well. It's never anything too out of reach of people. It's just the simple things that you seem to find and point out to everyone, and you tell them how much it is and where they can get it from.
Yes. I've been on the. I'll tell you what, them cocktails from M&S, they've had me going, mate, through this whole quarantine, mate. I've been rocking with them, and they've been good to me. They have.
So we know, obviously, you're a huge boxing fan, and I would like to say, like, I appreciate you always kind of sharing our videos and
yes,
your fans into the direction of our videos, and you have been doing so for years. So much appreciated to that.
No problem, man. IFL TV all the way. It's got the info on there. There's loads of others as well, but it's just that I got stuck on IFL.
Nothing wrong with that. Before we get into a bit of boxing talk, I just wanted to ask you how the last 6 weeks has really affected your career.
Oh, mate.
Go on.
Yeah, no, I understand. Basically, no shows. Basically, you could still sell music, but I felt weird selling it, knowing that we're going through something. So I don't want to take no one's money. We're going through a frigging pandemic. And I'm asking people to, but then my manager was like, don't think that way. People need content. So even if it's not a song, you could do some YouTube videos, you could do some, you know, just where you're actually speaking. So people are still getting content back. He was like, people need content, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the truth of it, isn't it? And I think it's a case of everyone kind of having to take care of themselves as well as the people around them. And, you know, you can't think of it, it's like a selfish act that you're doing. You're doing what you have been doing for many years, and that shouldn't really change to no degree.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. One thing I did see in that quarantine is Bugsy Malone had a crash.
Yeah.
Bugsy Malone had a crash. And the other day I was walking along and I was seeing it in my head because there's a video of it. And I started to think, is he okay? Because that crash, now when I think back, it just looked mad because he was on his three-wheeler, you know, his body is exposed. I suppose he wasn't like all padded up. And he just had like a Batman mask, like some kind of mask. And I've just been wondering if he's okay, as well as, I know like people was like, he shouldn't have been out and stuff, but I've been sitting there wondering if he's okay, as well as, because that crash, the video of it looks nuts. Did you see that video?
Yeah, I saw the video of it.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I've been thinking about that and all, as well as people with underlying issues. You know what, KUGAN? I want to say something, right? Listen, my grandparents, I love them to death. They're all gone now, right? But I don't like the way people didn't want to be around old people. I wanted to be, if you're old, I want to come and help you.
Yeah.
I saw lots of people like, I ain't going near my mum and dad. I was like, wow. So I think we're meant to be there for young or old, I felt like, as well. Like during this time, it's been like 6 weeks so far, yeah? 6 weeks, yeah. So 6 weeks, I feel like we was meant to be there for old and young, and I know all the stuff. But yeah, when do you reckon, honestly, the unraveling will start? Do you reckon when next time the government speaks on Sunday?
I think that on Sunday we'll start to see the first steps of this situation resolving back to normal. But when I say the first steps, I mean the very, very minute steps.
Okay, so still something about social distancing, maybe like the mask, the plastic gloves, you know, inside the Ubers, they've got a big plastic sheet, like a black taxi to separate you from them, all of this type of stuff. Do So he will give us guidelines to come out of it.
I believe so. From what I can understand of it, and it's no different from what anyone else can understand of it as well, I think we will hear certain news on Sunday that may be relevant to you or me. I don't know. It might not affect your life, what's going to be announced Sunday. It might not affect my life because I'm assuming that certain businesses will be allowed to go back to work.
Understand.
Yeah. We know that the restrictions around social distancing will be kept in place, and things like public transport having to wear masks, etc., etc. We're assuming those kind of steps will be taken as the very first steps. That's how I'm reading it. But we don't know until Sunday. We don't know exactly.
It's true. That's true. What do you reckon about bars? No, wait. Pub. Let's go to the public house.
Okay, you want to talk about it? I think those social environments that include bars and pubs will be last on the pecking order. They will be, because they're environments where it's difficult to social distance. Okay, so
in the pub, yeah.
Of course, I mean, you're talking about. I go to places here in Essex where you go in there and you're all on top of each other. So, and the majority of places are like that. I think that the restaurant situation, I think the restaurants are going to have to comply with distancing. You know, when you go into a restaurant in London, you're all sitting almost like
next to each other. Yeah.
You're on the same table. A lot of them, they're on the same bench, etc., etc. So I think a lot of them restaurants are going to have to restructure their layouts to comply with government rules. Otherwise, they won't be allowed to open. So But listen, this is just what we think. It could just be a lot.
We're having. Yeah, you're right. We're imagining. But basically, so Sunday we'll get some news from him. He's going to tell us a few things. What if he don't say nothing? What if he says something but it means nothing? Then we're going to be stuck in. I'll tell you what, though, mate. I'm going to be on a boat over that channel, English Channel soon. I'm going to be on a boat underneath because I've never been like. I've been in England a lot of my life, but I mean, I've never been like, this is the first time in ages where I can't move. I can't go to Cyprus. I can't go to Holland. I can't do anything. And I haven't thrown my toys at the basket about it yet. But that day is coming soon. So I do want to hear what he's saying on Sunday because I not only do I want boxing back, but I want like the football. I want like with no sports, I feel like empty mind, KUGAN. I need sports. Like even badminton, something. I know I need something back. But yeah, definitely. What about Wilder, step aside, Fury, Joshua? What about that? Because I was watching Barry and he had a good insight on how that could work at the other end.
So, yeah, I interviewed, obviously, Barry Hearn yesterday, and the main point Barry was trying to make was the fact that in a situation like we're in, it actually might be easier to make the bigger fights because they'll be the fights that will last, if you like. They're the fights that are guaranteed to attract an audience even without a gate. So a lot of these fights that are going on now, you have to minus the gate revenue on all of these shows we're talking about. So what show or what fight or what event is that big, where it will have minimal impact? So don't get me wrong, if you're talking about if Fury and Joshua were to fight at Cardiff or Wembley and you've got an 80, 90,000 gate, which is a substantial revenue, but the people that will probably be watching that on a pay-per-view, it may counter for some of it. Not all of it, but it may counter for some of it. So I think Barry was making the point yesterday that despite the situation we're in, it's only the elite events, i.e. the Fury Joshuas, that have a chance of happening. And he said it might be, it's a big might have a chance of happening. Whether it is this year or not, I don't see Fury and Joshua happening this year personally. I don't see that situation happening.
No, I would love to. And you know what? I thought about this before. As a man, do you want money to step aside, or do you want a chance to get your belt back as a man? Like, forget the politics, forget PBC and all this. Just as a man, like Deontay Wilder, he has a decision to make. And I was thinking, would he take the money? No, he ain't gonna, is he? I doubt he would. But you never know. You never know. Would you take the money if you was him to step aside?
It's interesting because Wilder would have already made X amount of money anyway.
Okay, from the first two?
Well, no, just in his career, he's been a professional.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So I'm talking about, in generally, people with money have a different outlook to those that have less money, shall we say. So Wilder being Wilder over the last however many years would have earned a substantial amount of money, okay? In boxing compared to most people. So what would it take for Wilder? And this is what you got to think of, yeah? If I was Wilder and they said to me, okay, we're going to offer you 5 million, all right?
Yes.
5 million to sit this out, okay? And you're guaranteed a shot at the
yeah, you get the winner.
If I was Wilder, I'd be demanding that I got the winner. It was in a contract that I got the winner of Fury Joshua. If I was allowing that fight to happen, I would. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it? Because otherwise, you step aside, and then they fight, and then they might have another fight, and they might go elsewhere. That to happen. So if I was Wilder, I'd be making sure that I got the straight shot
at the winners, whoever the winner is.
The winner of that fight for all the belts.
So he's not. So he's not a loser if he steps aside here, because then he gets a chance to fight the winner anyway.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that would be 100% the case, but I'm saying if I was Deontay Wilder, that's what
you'd think about.
Insisting on. I've been insisting that I fought the winner, and also it had to be financially lucrative. Otherwise, like I said, Wilder doesn't have to. He has the fight with Fury, and then kind of sees what happens from there. And then if the winner of that fight goes on to fight Joshua, fair enough. But if I was Wilder, I'd be saying guaranteed shot and money that's lucrative. That's what I'd be saying.
And you would be open to doing it, and then so something like that could make you step aside. Yeah.
So the news, it's not really news, but it is a little bit of news that there was reported talks that Fury Joshua and their location, which is being tipped as being Saudi Arabia. Obviously, they're the people with deep pockets, shall we say. I don't know how much of that is actually relevant at the moment to be talking about that.
Okay. Well, the Saudi Arabia, the thing is, deep pockets change minds, don't they? So if Deontay Wilder had his heart set on doing that rematch, if someone from Saudi said, hello mate, listen, step aside, we give you this and you get the winner, if it was enough that they give him, that could make him step aside, couldn't it? Because he knows he's going to get the winner. So Saudi, I heard China as well, but Saudi, the place with deep pockets, can get it going, can't they? Because they could get people paid out the way, like this type of thing.
Because they've got proven track record as well. I mean, over the last year, we've seen Amir Khan fighting Saudi. Obviously, before that, we had the World Boxing Super Series between Smith and Groves. That was in Saudi. Tyson Fury fought in the WWE in Saudi in October. Joshua Ruiz was in Saudi. So in the last year especially, Saudi has become a relevant part. Yeah,
they're on it.
Relevant part.
Yeah, they're on it. They this is oil money there, isn't it? Oil.
Yeah.
So basically, so all right, Wilder needs to make a decision. Obviously.
What would you do? If you were Wilder, what would you do?
I wouldn't step aside, but this is because I would want my belt back.
Yeah.
And you know what, as well, like, I'd want my belt back, even if I lost. If I lost, then that means I've got to walk away. But by then, Joshua, Pulev, the thing is when I was young, I didn't know what it was like. But now I'm older and I get it. And it's like, no one wants their fighter to lose, do they? So I think I wouldn't step aside. But Joshua, if Joshua fights Pulev and Fury fights Wilder, the winner out of them two would fight each other.
Yes. Listen, that's I think still the most realistic situation, because as much as people are talking about Wilder, you have the situation of Kubrat Pulev as well. And from reading what I'm reading, Kubrat Pulev has no intention of stepping aside to allow that fight to happen. Pulev might be easier to convince than Wilder to step aside. That's a possibility. I'm not saying he would do it, but you're not talking about just one person stepping aside. You're talking about two fights that were scheduled to go on in 2020 that need to be addressed. One's contractual with the third trilogy fight with Fury and Wilder, and Pulev obviously remains as anti-Joshua's mandatory challenger. Those fights are not going away. So it's not just a case of Wilder, it's having to convince Kubrat Pulev to do the same thing. But I would suggest that Kubrat Pulev is a little bit more easier to convince than Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, you are right. You're probably right. Again, though, it's all money, isn't it? I think that, all right, let's just put it in an ideal world. Because also, like, with the world at a halt, like, come to a stop, a lot of my events and a lot of other artists or whoever was performing, their events were either postponed or cancelled. But if they was cancelled, they would need to be rescheduled, wouldn't they? So basically, it's not like none of these promoters can use this halt as an excuse, and as it goes back to normal, spin out of it to kind of like, well, they can't spin out of it, but they would try to. It's a payoff. The only way that Fury and Joshua can fight is if Pulev takes money and Thingy takes money and Wilder takes money, and then Wilder gets given on paper that he gets to fight the winner. That's the only way. Yeah.
So let me throw in another situation for you, right?
Yeah.
So we're saying that if Wilder was guaranteed a straight shot at Fury and Joshua, okay?
Yeah.
Where does that leave Kubrat Pulev then? How long has he got to wait then?
For
his shot being mandatory challenger. Like I said, it's so complicated, this situation, that I think it becomes too complicated to happen this year, like to make all them possibilities happen. But
you're right. And what about So Pulev would have to get promised the winner out of the winner of the next lot.
Well, I don't know how that would work, but he's mandatory for Joshua. So his position doesn't change unless he kind of decides to take a deal for
somewhere
another situation to arise. But it is so complicated. There's so many jigsaws to this puzzle that we could just be talking a load of nothing. I don't know.
Yeah. I understand. But, and also, I wanted to talk about this. If Joshua and Fury fight, where is the best, safest place to do it, do you think? Because I was thinking about this the other day. We live in England. We're all UK, Tyson Fury, Joshua, obviously backgrounds wherever, but I mean, right now we're in the UK. And I thought about this. When Joshua and Fury fight, if they fight in England, I feel like it's going to divide the country of fans. Like, not riots, but it will divide people in this country. Like one side. Not even colours. I'm not saying colours because I've got people of all colours saying they want Fury to win or Fury will win. I've got people of all colours saying that Joshua will win. So, but I think fans-wise, it is going to split this country in half. What do you think?
Correct. I do believe that. I don't know whether one split would favour the other. I don't know. In my job that I do, I see as many Joshua fans as I do Fury fans. Obviously, Joshua pulls in huge gates, we know, at Wembley and Cardiff, etc. But I think in general, I do see kind of a split of people who favour each fighter. So
they do.
Interesting. It will do. It'll be the most talked about sporting event, especially in boxing, of many years. So
that we've had for sure, isn't it?
That we've had in our lifetime, of course. See, part of the reason for me about fights is sometimes how long do we talk about Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather for?
Yeah, they
talk about that for for many years. It eventually happened. It didn't quite live up to what we were expecting it to live up to. But this will be talked about, especially in this country. Look, outside of this country, obviously it would have some relevance to America because of obviously Deontay Wilder and boxing in general, where all the belts are with the UK. So,
yes,
you know,
I like this one. I like this fact though, that it's like, because in Frank Bruno's day and that, they didn't get to do that, did they? They didn't get all the belts back here, did they?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, Lennox Lewis, I think, was the last person that was undisputed. Lennox was kind of split between his loyalties towards obviously being from the UK and also Canadian as well. So with this situation here, we've got two Brits that in Joshua and Fury who kind of representing the UK, all 4 belts, and I don't think we might be in a position where this is ever repeated. I don't think we're going to be, I don't know, maybe in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, you've got 2 fighters that hold all 4 belts. I'm not sure when that's ever going to happen again.
It's true. It's true. And that's what I mean, why, like, it's not just Wilder, is it? His people at this point right now will be saying, listen, mate, we've got to get them belts back in America, mate. They're all over there. We need to get them back. They'll be working schemes and tricks to be trying to get them back. And I feel like Fury's with him, isn't he? Anyway, is Fury with?
Fury is promoted.
ESPN.
Yeah, Fury's promoted by Top Rank.
Yeah.
With also Frank Warren as well. And
joint.
Yeah, and obviously MTK Global heavily involved as well. With Tyson Fury's career. So, but yeah, he's contracted to fight on ESPN. So, and obviously his deal here is with BT Sport as well. I don't know the extent of his deal with BT Sport, but that's kind of the basics around it.
Yeah. So with the BT, so it would have to be everyone coming to do business together, like Sky, BT, Matchroom, blah blah. Everyone's got to get there.
Top Rank,
I understand.
PK, everyone. You're talking about a lot of players in a big pot to try and make this fight happen.
Yeah. I understand. Listen, mate, I hope it happens, but I can see the politics that would make it not happen. Also, though, I wanted to talk about Dillian White. Why do people keep not giving him his mandatory? Is that a bit of favoritism?
Well, the situation you're regarding to is with the WBC and headed by Maurizio Suleiman, right? So the situation regarding that is that with Fury and Wilder having this rematch and also a third fight, Dillian White found himself in a situation where his mandatory date was February 2021, okay?
Okay.
Now, which is still 9 months away. 10 months away. So Dillian White has been sitting there number 1 for God knows how long. And it has, I'm sure talks have gone back through Matchroom and Dillian White's legal team and the WBC to get a resolution for this over the last few months. And this was what was decided. I don't think anything will change in that respect. Dillian White should have had a shot at the WBC title by now. He's been number 1 for I've lost track of the days. You're talking about somewhere between 550 and 650 days.
Oh, mate. So it's
Dillian White.
So they're doing Dillian dirty a little bit, the WBC.
Well, listen, that's not for me to say, but
okay.
There is an argument that Dillian White definitely should have had his mandatory slot by now. And his date is February 2021. So the problem Dillian White finds himself in is that because he has to keep active and Dillian White wants challenges. So that's why he's taking a fight dangerous like Povetkin when he doesn't really need to. Someone like Dillian White could sit there and think, right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to fight a couple of lesser opponents over the next 8 months and then I'll wait for my shot. But that's not Dillian White's nature to do.
No. He's on it. He's on it right now.
The best available contenders. You saw this stuff happening with Andy Ruiz lately about offers being made because that was the fight that Eddie Hearn tried to make was
Ruiz and Dillian White. Yeah, I think that's a good fight. I think that's a very good fight because at this precise time, I can't tell you the winner, but I think that's a good fight. And I think Dillian, obviously I want Dillian to win, but you don't know who's going to win till the end of a fight. So do you think that Dillian being with Eddie hinders him a bit at getting that shot because Eddie's got the other geezer?
There's an argument of that, and I think Dillian White's probably aware of that situation as well.
Okay.
And he knew that when he joined up with Matchroom because Eddie has openly said that, you know, his number one priority would be Anthony Joshua. I think anyone saying otherwise is...
It is. Listen, I was in this situation. I was in this situation with, it's not boxing, but say Anthony Joshua and Dillian, they're both with Eddie. Me and Dizzy Rascal, we was both with a guy called Nick. But Dizzy blew up and I didn't. And so I get it. I do get a bit of it. Not that Dillian can't blow up, but I didn't prosper until I got away from Dizzy and Nick. Because Dizzy was the star immediately. Nick knew what to do. And Wiley wasn't really ready yet. So I understand a bit.
Look, I've been in a situation where I've had Eddie Hearn and Dillian White in front of me, and I've had Eddie Hearn say in front of Dillian White that his number one heavyweight is Anthony Joshua. But I don't think anyone can really, you know, Anthony Joshua has been with Eddie Hearn since he turned professional after the Olympics. So he's had him from day one of being professional. And obviously, I can imagine
the first day Eddie met Anthony. I can imagine, because if Eddie's quite tall himself, but if you find a big monster like that, you'll be like, right. You know, like, would. He's a monster, isn't he?
Dillian White, Dillian White signed with Matchroom after they had the fight with him and Anthony Joshua at the O2.
Yeah, because Dillian won the first time, yes?
No, that was in the amateurs. But
amateur, sorry.
The professional fight they had a few years ago, Dillian White signed to fight Anthony Joshua, but then signed with Matchroom afterwards. But Dillian White would know when he signed with Eddie Hearn that he would always be slightly playing second fiddle to Anthony Joshua. And I don't think that's no disrespect to anyone. I just think that's just how it is. I think Dillian knows that as well. But Dillian's done great. Listen, Dillian, to create himself into this like a big star, obviously doing his own pay-per-view shows now as well. There's not a lot of pay-per-view fighters in the country, and Dillian White has kind of forced himself into them situation where his last few fights, apart from obviously he fought Marius Wack up on the Joshua card because he'd been out of the ring for some time, so that was more or less a tick-over fight. But Dillian White...
Should he be his own headliner now, you saying?
He's his own headliner. He headlined a fight last July with him and Oscar Rivas. That was a pay-per-view fight. His fight with Povetkin, which was meant to have taken place over the weekend, that was a headline pay-per-view fight as well. That's going to be obviously rescheduled for the summer, and that will still be a pay-per-view event. So he has forced himself, whether people like it or not, into a pay-per-view fighter.
Understand. And so he'll reschedule for... He's won his last three, Dillian.
Dylan's been undefeated since he lost to Joshua.
Okay.
Only defeat has been to Anthony Joshua. So he's been on a winning run ever since that fight, which was 4 or 5 years ago now.
Okay, so all right. So Dillian will fight Povetkin. He'll fight Pulev. They'll fight. So how will Dillian get a look in, do you think? He wants another title shot, but by the time he takes another title shot, those people might not have the belts.
It doesn't matter. Dillian White, it doesn't matter who holds the WBC title in February 2021.
They have to give it to him.
He has to have a shot, whoever holds it, whether that be Tyson Fury, whether that be Deontay Wilder, whether that be Anthony Joshua. Let's give you an example here. Joshua Fury fight happens, in December, for example. If Joshua was to win that fight, he would have all 4 belts, but his mandatory situation with Dillian White would remain the same. He would be mandated to fight Dillian White around February 2021.
So Dillian White don't really have to worry. He knows he's mandatory. And if they don't give him it by that date, it will be some skullduggery that's gone on.
Well, if that doesn't happen, if Dillian White doesn't get his shot, February 2021, yes.
What can Eddie do? What can Eddie do?
Well, it'll be a legal matter, because if you're mandated, it all goes through a legal process.
Okay.
If you're mandated, unless, like I said, Dillian was to step away from that situation, he was to get injured, or whoever was holding the belt at the time, whether that be Fury, Joshua, or Wilder was holding the belt, were to get injured, it could get postponed or it could get moved. But Dillian White hasn't effectively got to do anything. Dillian White can just sit back. He doesn't even have to fight. He can sit back and wait for his shot. Obviously, Dillian White, being the fighter he is, he wants to get in there and he wants to fight the best available contenders there are.
Yeah. So what do you think? Dillian White, one fight this year, wait for the winner of the thingy. And if they try, so it would be a legal matter. So basically, Dillian's time after them 500 days is actually coming.
Eventually, but you got to understand, it's like a long time he's been number one, and he will eventually get it. I think what because of the situation we're in now as well, when we don't quite know even now when boxing's going to return, I think it's feasible for. I mean, Dillian White could fight twice this year. If he's going to fight in the summer, there's no reason why Dillian White couldn't also fight in December. But then how risky do you go with the fight in December when you're mandatory in February? How much do you want to push it and risk that, you know?
You need one fight this year and wait for your mandatory, I think, for Dillian. And it's mad because the next fight... When was Fury and Wilder scheduled for?
It was scheduled for the summer. I think July it was scheduled for.
All right, cool. So soon as they know... What happened?
No, I said June or July. I can't remember.
June or July. All right, cool. So say if they get it on in August. Because soon as Al Heyman, who's he with again, the PBC, you said?
Yeah.
As soon as Al Heyman, soon as he knows the way that Dana White knows, the way that Eddie will know, that when they're allowed, he's going to go for it, ain't he? And so just say, for instance, they get that fight done by September or something. And then the winner of that fight, if Joshua gets through Pulev and they get through. So the winner of those two fights fight next. It's still not sure that someone's going to end up with 4 belts, is it?
But listen, we don't know what the situation will be. We don't know how it's going to work. We just, like I said, rounding off on what we're talking about with Dillian White. White, whoever's got the belt in February 2021, whether that's me or you, or Wilder, Fury, Joshua, whoever has got that belt, Dillian White is supposed to fight them in February 2021.
Okay, I'll get it. You know what? I was going to ask you, remember when we've had the YouTube boxing involved?
Yeah.
Has it helped, brought some more people on?
I probably think it has done, because the following that KSI and Logan Paul have on their social medias is too big for not a small percentage of people
to come over.
Probably weren't interested in boxing to come. So I'd say the likely chances are, how big that percentage is, I don't know, but I would suggest that a small percentage of people that didn't follow boxing before would have watched KSI and Logan Paul in a professional boxing environment and maybe taken an interest more so in boxing as a result of that. The numbers are too big to ignore.
Understand.
About a few hundred, you're talking about millions of people. So, you know.
Yeah. And they're all kids who are YouTubers who play games and they live their lives and they do what they're doing. But even Jake Paul and Anderson Gibbs. So yeah, I get it. I understand. I was just wondering, would that work? Would that not work? I don't think they should mix the fights. I don't think professionals should be on the same night as YouTubers. Do you?
Yeah. There's a good argument for that. I think that if you're going to do a YouTube boxing fight, you should probably maybe group a few people on the same night, 3 or 4 fights, and maybe fill it on its own.
Because I don't want to see Billy underneath. I want to see them underneath Billy.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
You know, like not in a bad way, but it's yeah, because they're not the real boxer yet. But okay. What else has been going on? What about?
Right.
Wait, hold on. That Billy video. Bill, everyone's humour's different. Bill, Billy, do you reckon he's going to get stick for that video?
Well, it's kind of died down now. I think Billy Joe made a silly video. Obviously got a lot of attention. He's apologised about it, and I think it's probably, you know, it's time to move on from that. Really, he knows what he did was wrong. Billy Joe's humour that only certain people get, but a lot. Of people,
I get it. I get it.
Funny, and understandably so as well. But it's not an it's not
for everyone.
I'm just telling you how it is. I know Billy Joe. I know it was meant in jest, even though it was regarded as not funny, and I can completely understand why. But it was Billy Joe's kind of what he deems to be humour. But he has
humour,
at it, and let's hope Billy Joe doesn't make the same mistake. So
is that gonna ruin his thing with Canelo?
Well, his Canelo situation was meant to have happened over last weekend. That's very unclear what will happen, because by the time boxing resumes, Canelo's team may be looking at other opponents. So I don't know. I don't know whether Billy Joe's lost that shot, but it's not a result of that. What happened? It never helps the situation. But Billy Joe's fight with Canelo didn't happen because of the pandemic situation we're in.
Oh yeah. Understandable. Another one I was going to ask you. Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce. Why
Joe Joyce.
Boyce. Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce.
Is, but yeah, Joe Joyce. It's scheduled again from a date they had in April, which was, I think, April the 11th. Has now been scheduled for the summer. Again, it's very unclear how that will happen, whether it happens behind closed doors or not. I don't know. I think Frank Warren said in a Boxing Social interview that he's ruling out it going behind closed doors. So I don't know where that fight lies at the moment, Wiley, to be honest with you.
Okay.
To Frank about it at some point in the next few days.
You know what, as well, going back to in my field, I see people starting to do like online festival, like online performances to the people. No crowd, the crowd will be at home. For boxing, I think we need to wait for the crowd. Even like going to perform at a show, I won't be able to do that until there is actually a crowd. So I think we should wait for the crowd. If we're patient enough, what would you do?
Well, certain shows, and I think smaller shows, will go on in studio situations behind closed doors. But I think the events it's going to be more difficult to put those events on without a crowd, unless you're prepared to wait. Dillian White and Povetkin, as far as I know, when that goes ahead, that will be behind closed doors, and that was going to be a pay-per-view show. I don't think a Joshua Pulev would go behind closed doors. I think they'll wait for the time for that to be right. But how long are we waiting for? At what point do we turn around and go, cool, it's been X amount of months or whatever, you know, this fight has to happen. We might have to do it. He hasn't ruled out it going behind closed doors, Eddie Hearn, but
okay.
Again, we don't know. So it's a case of wait till Sunday. Maybe things are 5% clearer on Sunday. Maybe they're not.
Yeah. I've seen, so basically Donald Trump, Boris Johnson's waiting for Donald Trump to say what they're doing so that we know what we're doing.
Well,
are we following America here, or are we not?
I think kind of each government is kind of dealing with what's in front of them. But we're closely associated with America as well. So all the governments are. So I think it's a case of kind of each man leading their own.
Okay.
So, But again, what do we know? Maybe
exactly.
Maybe Boris is FaceTiming and doing a Zoom with Trump right now. Who knows?
Listen, mate, they got to tell each other the ways to come out of the lockdown, and so when Trump talks every day, and he says the rules. When Boris does that for us on Sunday, that will be us knowing how we move forward.
Exactly. So we pray for a little bit of good news, but we also just pray in general that, you know, we have less and less deaths that come out of this.
Yeah.
As horrendous as it is.
Yeah.
Nearing 30,000 are the ones reported, whether that's accurate or not, I don't know. But we just pray that we can all come out of this as safe as possible.
Let's pray, man. I hope everyone else just keep safe. Stay indoors and stay safe, mate.
All right. Well, listen, Wiley, we've done a good time here.
Good.
So I have to appreciate your time.
Nice one. Same to you, mate.
And, any closing words before we end? Just
before we go, big up Eddie Hearn, big up KUGAN, big up MTK Global, IFL TV. You know, let's have it, mate. Let's have it.
Quick one, actually, before we go.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been however many minutes we've done this for, and I've not even mentioned Stormzy today. Is that all over? Is it all done with?
Stormzy. Hey, listen, Stormzy, mate, legend. Stormzy's world tour, though, got cancelled or postponed. So it's nuts. Like, people who had great plans to take over the world this year, the situation that was going on before, because I see Bill Gates talking about this 4 or 5 years ago, that has caught up to this time and sort of put everyone's plans off, hasn't it?
It has. That's the case across the board, isn't it? But
yes, it is. It's a pandemic. I do hope Eddie, I know Eddie can't wait, mate. Eddie's like me. I'm sitting indoors, and really, I just want to get back to work so badly, but there's nothing you can do. You go downstairs, might go for a walk, but like what you really want to do, you can't do it at the minute, mate. But that's how it goes. I spent a lot of time with the family though in this time. Have you?
I haven't actually, because
what?
I live on my own.
Okay.
I live on my own, and my mum and dad live 2 miles up the road from me. I drop their shopping.
Okay. Yeah, you drop the shopping. Good, yeah.
Good, shopping.
Yeah.
Might have a couple of words.
Yeah.
Me in my car and them at the door.
Yeah.
But yeah, just listen. I ain't taking no chances. So
yeah, no chances, mate. No chances. All right. Listen.
You know what? Why? One more thing. You know what?
Yeah.
I was on the set when you were making wearing my Rolex. Yeah.
What's your?
What year did you make that?
2008 or 7 or something. 8, 9.
No, it wasn't that song then. What did you make in roughly 211? What was your big track in 211 or 212?
Oh yeah, Electric Boogaloo. A few of them, they was Rolex, you know, because Tom Hardy was at one as well. I'll tell you, I'll find out. Don't worry.
I was on set. You was filming. We tried to get an interview when we just started out, but
I don't lie.
You was like proper.
Oh, sorry. You know what?
It weren't you.
Did I not want to do it?
No, it weren't you. It's just like there was a couple of people around that were like, yeah, we'll get it done. But we was there for like a few hours, but you was like non-stop, like scene after scene. So
okay. It's probably my manager promising thingies, but listen, interviews are good. They only turn bad when the person says madness and it gets written in context that they don't like. And then otherwise, interviews are good, and you just got to know how to be yourself. You know what I mean? Like my first interview, I probably was all over the place, but once I learned how to do them, you know what I mean? Just be yourself, mate. Have fun.
Absolutely. Okay, Wiley, thank you very much for the IFL TV. Keep yourself safe, and
yes.
hopefully we'll catch up soon.
Yes, all good.